Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and my lovely NBs. Today we are here for another Tooth and Tail Season 2 of 2023 group matches. Today we're going to be going over Evil Murlock going up against Noun Verb. I believe all these matches are going to be in Group B for today because we're also going to be looking into Olive versus Murlock. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. So, Evil Murlock's gonna be starting off with the common folk up north. Wow, Noun Verber will be going to be in the south, representing the KSR. So, looking at both of these compositions, we are seeing some very interesting ones here from Murlock, as he does have the Squall as his tier 1 composition, with only one tier 2 being the Ferrets, while going double tier 3 with the Fox and Boar, and also getting some mines on the side for some pesky little defensive plays. Now for Noun Verb is pretty much going for a more standardized deck that we usually see in a lot of compositions, going for the Squizzard. Squizzard isn't used as much as originally set out, but it looks like Evil Murlock was kind of playing around with the idea of being a little gremlin, but decided against it. But yeah, Noun Verb is going to go with Squizzard, also getting with the Falcon Cam, along with the Wolf composition, with the Mine tagged along as well. So definitely not your standard decks you usually see in the current meta of this game, but I think it'll be interesting how this plays out, especially with the fact that this is probably the most even I'm going to ever see a map in probably a while. Because in this case, we do see that Murlock has an easy second base, as well as Noun, even though it's a little bit further out for a second base for him compared to Murlock, he does have another easy access for a third if you really wanted to play around with it, but I imagine he'd be going for this one right here, more so than this one, while Murlock can easily go for that third base right there, even though it will be on lower ground. It could be difficult to defend outright because of the pesky lake that's here as well. Now, of course, looking like the easy pathway, it looks like that they're gonna mainly utilize this because of the fact that there's water here, which I can't blame them at all for either side. But yeah, it looks like both of them are gonna go through the Gentleman's 8, and so I would imagine that they'll go ahead and dive into a, well, I was gonna say Gentleman's 16, but we are seeing a Fox come into play, and the Boar's coming out as well against Noun Verb. So already going a very aggressive double tier 3, and I'm sure that Noun is gonna see this. Hopefully he saw that. I'm pretty sure he did. He only saw one of them. Ooh, that could go out to hunt them for sure, for sure. But in any case, we are seeing that Noun Verb is going to try and go into the 16 farm, but with the fact that the aggressive play from Murlock, he's just going to one base, enter the Fox to probably do some poking, along with the backline of the Squirrel, essentially a mass Squirrel, and the Boar to come out, because now it's not really diving into it that much. I believe I'm on his right here, and yeah, he still has not look deep enough to know that there's a second tier 3 on the way. So that's gonna be a concern here, because once that board comes out, I genuinely think that this game could get ugly really fast if Noun doesn't even put some kind of tier 3, put the Wolf down now rather than later, because now here comes the Fox. So we now know that the Fox is here, and it looks like the mind games are gonna be slowly but surely being used here. The lasers are coming, and it looks like he's gonna go engage in this one. I don't know. It looks like the defense is gonna be there, and now the Boar is out, and now it's gonna have a really tough time trying to bounce back, because it really doesn't have anything to counter this Boar at all, to be honest with you. There's no Falcons, there's no nothing, so the Boar's gonna come in and start tearing things up apart. The tier 1's gonna get deleted But he's going to try and bring them back, trying to keep that boar alive. But now he can easily kind of regroup as much as he can. Because the fox is going to be too much. The burning is going to be a little bit too hectic. Some great micro here from Murlock, but the boar is going to go down. And now we're going to start seeing the fox cleaning up the rest of this army as the economy is now being used. Though the fox might go down here, but no, he does save the fox just in time. But I imagine that's going to be the end of the fox. So I would imagine that both are going to get sold here. Oh no, he's going to actually just go completely get rid of the entirety of the tier 1 and the fox to go ahead and regroup and actually go for a full-on boar composition. But yeah, there's going to be a little bit of attack here as Noun was able to get a mass amount of tier 1s to come out, but now he's going to see try to be a little bit sneaky here with the cam, but I don't think that one cam is going to do nearly as much as you would want it to. So now Murlock's going to go ahead and rely on the second base. We are past the mark of the 5 minutes, and Murlock does not want to go into the late game with this composition, mainly because of the fact that Noun is so ahead in economy at the moment. Oops, wrong button. As you can see, with the army value is pretty big, and the income value is just massive, massive. So right now, Noun's going into the 3rd mill essentially, and so Murlock has to make some quite the amount of damage to hopefully counter this. So now Murlock's gonna go ahead and go dive for the attack, because right now the biggest thing is get rid of the mass tier 1, which he does quite easily. And now the cams are gonna go down, and I'm pretty sure that's the game here. That mill is going to be going down, and I'm sure that the second mill is going to be going after next. But of course, you got to be careful with the micro. But oh, he's going to go back with this note. Oh, that is such a huge blow if he decided to actually just go and commit and try to go for the kill there. But now the boar's gone, and he has no choice but to sell it. Ah, that's a huge, huge... Like, that is... What a bad turn of events of losing your boar like that. And I will have to give a slight edge to Noun here, even though that he doesn't have a lot of economy going on his end either. Murlock doesn't have much to be going for as well, so he's gonna have to really kind of play around with it a little bit to essentially try and get some good things going. He is gonna do a couple of warrens, try to get more farms up and running. And could this potentially be a base race scenario? Because if that's the case, then I'm gonna have to give it to Noun, because Noun has much more in the army compared to Murlock in this case. So really rough spot here for Murlock to even try to consider what to do next in this instance. But yeah, really going for these mines in the late game in that pathing really showed a lot of grit in that regard. Because I'm sure Murlock was just trying to panic his way out of it, but it did cost him a boar at the end of the day. I would definitely be singing a different tune if the boar was able to survive, but it's just the wrong pathing in this case. And now the lizards are going to come into play, and the lizard's going to go ahead and clean this up, and I think this is going to be a win there for Noun. But actually, no, the great defense there from Murlock. Okay, that just shows how good I am at casting this game. But with that in mind, Noun can easily go ahead and replenish. So it's not that big of a loss compared to Murlock's situation. Murlock is going to put down another Squirrel Warren, and we might be seeing... This could be a base race scenario. That's the only way I can see Murlock really winning this game, because he does have quite a lot of moles here, but they're not going to be nearly as fast. And while he does have another full eco up for him, Noun's already got his 3rd build once again, plus a campfire to boot, so it's going to be tough for Murlock to find a decent opening enough to go ahead and go for this base race, because I think that's the only way he could really win this, because I don't think this scrappy Mass Tier 1 play I'm gonna have to go give it to the lizards because of the speed within it. But I guess like right now, the biggest thing is just kind of trying to give chase a little bit here. Because right now, the only direction that he knows is somewhat safe is the mines that he put on himself. And he's going to put some defensive mines just in case, because he does know that there is a mass amount of lizards, but he can easily go around with this back door. And that's exactly what Noun's going to do. And he is going to take down one of those pigs. Right now, he's just trying to find a way to poke around a little bit, trying to get to that opening. But it looks like Murlock is really at a tough spot because he's going to have to go wherever Noun's going to have to go. So both armies are kind of playing footsie here, but the boar's coming back out again for Murlock. So now there's a window there for Noun to possibly do something, but instead he decides to retreat, and that's not going to... I'm not sure if I feel comfortable with that, because now with the boar out and about and being paid for, Murlock does have the court of being in the lead, because the army composition has kind of gone back and forth a little bit throughout this matchup. And we can see the income it's slowly going to turn into Murlock because of the fact that the base race wasn't going to be happening. So the boar's going to come out any moment now, and as much as Noun wants to attack here, there's no way he really can without having to deal with a massive fight on the lake or having to go through this much variety of mine, and the boar will be out regardless. So Murlock really showing a lot of patience here within this first matchup, as we are past the 10-minute mark, and we are seeing that more and more Noun is not going to be able to have to rely on that eco as much. So now Murlock planning on going ahead and get this one. He is going to start driving through, and I'm assuming that that's going to actually do it, because the base race is going to be not great for him. And with all the lizards going down, you could say that Murlock was able to go ahead and come back and get the W, because there's no way that these tier 1 are going to go against this boar. So Murlock getting the first victory of this matchup here, as he goes up 1-0. So good matchup there in the early goings for Murlock, as he's up 1-0 against Noun. All right, let's go ahead and dive into game number 2. All right, Murlock in the western area, rocking with the common folk, while Noun going over to the northwestern position as the KSR. So Murlock keeping things pretty much the same for the most part. Nothing too much when it comes to change, but Noun changing just a little bit of everything, is now including the pigeons as well as a falcon skunk combination with the badger comp. So that's going to be what he's rocking for game number 2. We'll see how well that goes. There is a good chance we're going to have another at least 2 mil battle between the two, with the fact that essentially we have a second mill pretty easy to get over. That could be more of a conservative mill, and same can be said for Murlock. But I will say the other mill advantages... Oh wait, no, never mind. I was gonna say it would be more of an advantage for Murlock, but there is a back path here for these two, so we can easily get number 3 and maybe number 4 depending. But of course, it's gonna be a huge battle because 3 and 4 are also there for Murlock as well. And speaking of, we are seeing that the second mill... Oh, well, never mind. We're going to see a second mill be used here, but I'm assuming that that's just to go ahead and put Murlock to commit to a second mill. And now we're seeing the mines going down as well. And meanwhile, We are seeing a possible attack here. It might be just doing a little bit of faking right now, because there's not really much that he could do. His commander is going to go down. But yeah, I think this is just more so of a fake out than anything else, because I can't imagine now wanting to go ahead and dive into this. But he is going to anyway, but I think that the Mayan's going to prevent him from continuing on with this case. And another one's going to set off because he was a little bit too far in getting it. So I really don't think it's a good idea to go ahead and try and commit to this attack, but he's going to anyways. We'll see how much he can take off. He is going to take down one pig, but that pig doesn't have really much on its value in any case. And Murlock is going to defend it pretty well, only having to lose one pig, so it's not that big of a deal, especially now that he has started his second mill. Meanwhile, now I'm slowly losing that economy lead, slowly but surely, as Noun finally decides to go ahead and give up that, or try to get that second mill up and going, but Murlock already up to two more, he's going up to his second pig at this moment. So Eco is going to be heavily favored for Murlock in this case. We'll see how Noun kind of responds here, as he's probably going to try and desperately match what Murlock has, which he has done. But is it going to matter as much comparatively? Because he is going to have to try and tech up as much as he can, because Noun is finally diving into the tier 2. And Murlock already diving into the tier 3 with the boar, deciding to not go for the fox this time around. But I would imagine that Noun has a little bit of a gutsy feeling about what's next, considering he got defended as well. So we'll see if he does drop the tier 3. He might wait until Murlock is done. He's out. He does sell the moles. He is going to go for more falcons. And I think right now he's just more worried about trying to match, but if he doesn't go ahead and scout this boar, that might be trouble for him. Actually, I'm kind of curious if he has seen it yet. I don't think he has. Oh, yes. So he knows about it. But what's interesting is that he's not really going mass tier 2. Because you would imagine that boar would be the answer here. But he is going to try and go for the attack. The fox is now getting laid down. And now we're seeing the attack. But I'm pretty sure Murlock is going to defend this very well. And he is going to go ahead and wipe down that army. He could actually go for a counterattack if he wanted to. And it looks like he is going to, because there isn't a lot of firepower on Noun's end. So the skunk is going to go down. The pre-gas is not going to be enough. And he does enough to go ahead and get some damage in there. Nothing too big, but he is going to force Noun to go ahead and continue to play that route, especially now with the boar finally coming out. And I imagine that he's going to allow the fox to be supplied by just a little bit. Might sell a squirrel here. He will rebuy it. And now he has a fox on the way. And now Murlock is probably just going to go ahead and he does have something very powerful, the pigeons as well, to probably help heal that, the tank, help the boar tank even more than before. But I imagine with this combination that the fox and the boar is going to be a little bit too much here for Noun. But we'll see how Noun responds in this case, because he is going to put down some pigeons of his own, but it's not really going to be enough, especially now that the double tier 2 is going to be imminent, and there's not much for Noun to counter, to be honest with you. Especially now with the income becoming more and more scarce. The army value for Murlock is just really, really big, so I think it is safe to say that this could probably be Murlock's game to win, but I don't want to push it too much yet. We gotta see how this battle goes, but Murlock just wiping the floor with this composition, and it shows to be way too much, as Murlock will get the second victory here. as Murlock will be up 2-0 with a chance to sweep it right here and now. We go ahead and look between the income and the army value. We showed those two tier 2s really came in clutch. So let's go ahead and dive on into game number 3. So Murlock rocking the common folk down south, while Noun in more of a northeast position, rocking the KSR once again. So Murlock still keeping the same composition as the previous 2 games. You don't want to change what's working. While Noun once again returning over to the wolf composition. We'll see how things go, as we are seeing a cheesy mole play here. And he's going to try and counter with the mole himself, but that's not going to do much, as he loses that entire... He's going to be losing, if not the 60 food, definitely up to 50 because of the couple of swings there. So that's a huge advantage there for Murlock, as the tempo is now on him with that small interaction there, because those mole plays, they may seem small in the early goings, but it does really matter, as really every second counts within this game. So now Murlock already got the full 8 and a Warren already. Meanwhile, Noun has to still kind of wait to get his 8th farm to go up. And he will do that, plus dropping in a couple of... Probably have to wait for the second one to come out, as he's already got 2, and we already got a mill up for Murlock as well. So that really kind of shows how much of a difference it is for tempo to really matter, because Murlock is already ahead on both on economy and a little bit of army, just for a tad bit. But now we're seeing Noun trying to do some kind of commitment as he goes for a tier 2 to try and counter this massive deficit. But it might be coming a little bit late because of the fact that the 2 farms up here, now 4, Murlock going really greedy here with the 5, but instead decides to go against it, and more so just go ahead and try and tech up a little bit before putting down a 4th farm, it looks like. Or at least is what I'm assuming. Oh no, he just puts down a second Squirrel Warren. Meanwhile, I'm not sure why Noun decided to put down the mole here in a more defensive position, but I don't think it'll do too much. But the skunks are going to help out here, depending on how well the pre-gas works in the early going, because that's going to be very important. And the one skunk's doing some work. We are seeing that the skunk is going to go down, and it doesn't look like it's going to be much here, as Murlock's able to take down most of that competition, as that attack did not work as well as Noun would have hoped there. So even trade, he does decide to go ahead and build up the second farm, because he knows he's very far behind on the economy. But it's not going to matter too much, because the mine are going to be playing a huge role here. But I would not be surprised if Now wants to go ahead and dive into pre-gassing with the skunk here being on the high ground. So that's a pretty good spot for them. Yep, and the skunk pre-gas is going to be really good, especially if they decide to go on the choke point. So really good spot to put the army when it comes to Noun. But at this current juncture, we are seeing that Noun might match up on economy pretty soon. Yeah, he has matched it, as we are 1 minute away from the 5-minute mark. But Murlock gonna go a little bit wise here to get rid of the campfire. Might try and extend a little bit for an extra farm of his own with that campfire, because he's got a lot of options here in the early going, especially with this back. And actually, We are seeing that Noun was trying to be cheeky here. Kind of have to go for a little bit of a flicking attack with a distraction. And that mill might be gone, depending on how well this attack goes. But nope, that's not going to be the case. As now it's going to lose just about everything. And now the boar's out, and this puts Noun in a very bad spot. With the sneak attack not working out for him. And right now, it looks like it's going to be cleaning up as Murlock does get the sweep 3-0. And that's going to be a huge game for him, as these single games also matter. So the sweep is huge. So GG's all around going over to Murlock.